The wind outside howled as if lamenting a forgotten tale. I sat alone in my family's centuries-old mansion, surrounded by antiquity and the unsettling quiet that accompanies an empty house. My parents had left for a weekend, and the solitude pressed in on me with an unsettling weight. To ward off the eerie silence, I decided to engage in a night of movie marathoning. I nestled into the worn-out couch, the soft glow of the TV illuminating the room in a warm embrace. The movie selection was meant to be a distraction, a source of comfort in the face of the old mansion's creaks and groans. As the films played, I tried to immerse myself in the stories, seeking solace in fictional worlds. Yet, the shadows seemed to dance on the periphery of my vision, whispering secrets only they understood. I dismissed it as my imagination playing tricks, determined to enjoy my solitary evening. Midnight arrived, casting the house into a deeper silence. The movie credits rolled, leaving me alone with the hum of the refrigerator and the rustling of leaves outside. I took a deep breath, attempting to shake off the lingering unease that clung to the air like a ghostly mist. In the quiet of the night, I heard a sound, an unfamiliar melody that drifted from the old piano in the corner of the room. It was a gentle, haunting tune, played with a melancholic grace that seemed to beckon me closer. I approached the piano cautiously, the wood creaking beneath my hesitant steps. To my surprise, the piano keys moved with an ethereal touch, as if played by invisible hands. Mesmerized, I listened to the haunting melody, the music filling the room with an unexpected beauty. The shadows that once seemed ominous now swirled in a dance of tranquility. As the last notes faded away, a soft whisper echoed through the room, a voice from the beyond. "Find the key to the locked room," it urged. The piano fell silent, leaving me with a sense of purpose amidst the spectral symphony. I navigated the labyrinthine corridors of the mansion, the whispers guiding me to a door I had never paid much attention to. An old, dusty door that seemed to guard a long-forgotten secret. The key, as if guided by an unseen force, materialized in my hand, fitting effortlessly into the lock. As the door creaked open, a warm light spilled into the corridor, dispelling the shadows that clung to the edges. I entered a room frozen in time, adorned with photographs and relics from decades past. Faces long gone smiled back at me, and the room exuded an air of love and joy. In the center of the room stood an antique mirror, its surface shimmering with a soft glow. As I gazed into it, the reflections seemed to ripple, revealing scenes from the past, the laughter of family gatherings, the embrace of loved ones, and the echoes of a life well lived. The whispers returned, now gentle and reassuring. "You've unlocked the memories," they murmured. The shadows, once harboring an ominous presence, now swayed in a dance of celebration. The house, it seemed, held not only the weight of the past, but also the capacity for healing. Over the next hours, I immersed myself in the stories of generations past, feeling the warmth of their love and the echoes of their laughter. The haunted mansion transformed into a haven of solace, a place where the past and present coexisted in a harmonious balance. As dawn painted the sky in hues of rose and gold, I found myself sitting in the room, surrounded by the memories of those who once called this place home. The once creaking house now seemed to sigh with contentment, as if grateful to have its stories acknowledged and embraced. My parents returned, finding me in the room with a serene smile on my face. It was a smile born from an unexpected journey, a night that began in solitude and ended in a celebration of familial bonds. The house, once a silent witness to the passage of time, had become a vessel for healing, a sanctuary of memories. In the end, the shadows that once whispered tales of the past now stood as guardians of a newfound understanding. As I closed the door to the room, I carried with me the echoes of a night that had turned from haunting to heartwarming, a night when the ghosts of the past found solace in the company of the living. The night unfolded like a dark tapestry around me as I settled into the solitude of my quiet suburban home. My husband had left for a business trip, leaving me alone with nothing but the whispering winds and the creaking of the old house settling into the eerie stillness of the night. Little did I know that within the shadows lurked a tale that would awaken the dormant fears buried deep within my psyche. As the clock struck midnight, I found myself wandering through the empty rooms, the hollowness of the house echoing the emptiness within. The familiar ticking of the clock in the hallway seemed to amplify the silence, each sound reverberating through the stillness like a haunting melody. Deciding to distract myself, I curled up on the couch with a book, hoping the written words would offer solace in the face of the encroaching darkness. The soft glow of the reading lamp cast a feeble light that danced on the walls, creating eerie silhouettes that seemed to move of their own accord. With each turn of the page, the ominous feeling of being watched settled upon me. I tried to dismiss it as mere imagination, a byproduct of being alone in a silent house. Yet, the unease persisted, a subtle vibration in the air that sent shivers down my spine. As the night wore on, the house seemed to come alive with strange noises, a creak on the stairs, a soft tapping on the window, the distant murmur of voices that seemed to drift from the confines of the walls. I hesitated to investigate, fearing that the shadows held secrets best left undisturbed. In an attempt to drown out the disquiet, I turned on the television, the soft glow of the screen providing a semblance of company. The channels flicker red, images fleeting across the screen, but the static between stations seemed to carry a spectral undertone, a voiceless whisper that seemed to reach out from the void. An inexplicable chill settled in the room, and I pulled my sweater tighter, the fabric offering little comfort against the unseen presence that lingered in the corners. As I ventured into the kitchen for a cup of tea, the air seemed to thicken with an oppressive weight, as though an invisible force watched my every move. The flickering light in the kitchen cast erratic shadows that danced on the walls. I poured hot water into the teapot, the rhythmic sound interrupted by a sudden, sharp knock on the back door. My heart skipped a beat, the world outside silent as if holding its breath. Summoning the courage to investigate, I approached the door cautiously. The cold handle felt alien beneath my touch as I slowly turned it, revealing the inky blackness of the backyard. The moon hung low in the sky, its feeble light barely illuminating the skeletal branches of the trees. There, on the threshold, stood a figure, an indistinct silhouette cloaked in darkness. I gasped, my breath catching in my throat, as the figure shifted and seemed to dissipate into the night. The oppressive silence returned, leaving me to grapple with the unsettling encounter. As I retreated into the house, the whispers that had been mere murmurs in the background grew louder, forming indistinct words that scratched at the edges of my consciousness. I could almost feel the weight of unseen eyes upon me, their gaze penetrating the thin veneer of reality. The night stretched on, each passing hour an agonizing crawl through the shadows. Sleep eluded me, and the house seemed to warp and twist, its walls closing in as though harboring a malevolent force that thrived on my isolation. I questioned my sanity, wondering if the solitude had unraveled the threads of my reality. In the darkest hour before dawn, as the first light broke through the window, the haunting presence seemed to recede. The whispers faded, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted, leaving me with a profound sense of relief. I wondered if the night's terrors were a product of an overactive imagination, or if the shadows held secrets that defied rational explanation. When my husband returned, I hesitated to recount the night's events, fearing the skepticism that might greet my tale. But as I navigated the familiar routines of daily life, a lingering unease lingered beneath the surface, a fear that the solitude had allowed something unseen to breach the boundaries between worlds. As I walked through the once familiar halls, I couldn't shake the feeling that the house now held a history that went beyond the visible. The whispers, the shadows, the spectral figure on the doorstep. They were fragments of a puzzle that refused to be solved. And so, I remained vigilant, haunted by the knowledge that within the seemingly ordinary walls of my home, a horror lay dormant, ready to awaken with the fall of night. The chilling silence had revealed a truth, that sometimes, in the absence of company, the shadows cast by the mind can become far more terrifying than the ghosts that may or may not lurk within.